Welcome back to the cryptoworld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is still playing out this short-term bearish signal, while the price is potentially about to repeat history again, while Ethereum is also still repeating history in the short term. And this chart right here could be about to change everything for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, taking a look at the 4-day Bitcoin chart, and over the last 1 day, nothing has really changed on this chart. So if you want to know more about this chart, then check out my last video here on the channel. And the same can be said about the 3-day time frame, because over the last 1 day, the 3-day Bitcoin RSI is still trading below 50. So this chart has not changed over the last 1 day. So once again, if you're new to this channel and you have no idea about this chart or this chart right here, then check out my last video here on the channel to find out more. And if we're taking a look at this daily Bitcoin chart right here, as of right now, the DXY is still technically trending to the upside in the bullish direction, as at least as of right now, it is forming higher lows and higher highs. And so as I've been saying, basically every single day over the last 2 to 3 weeks since the price of Bitcoin was back up towards around 67,000, I've been saying this is a bullish trend for the DXY, which is bearish for Bitcoin in terms of the short-term trend and momentum here on the daily time frame. Because as we can clearly see on this chart right here, time and time again, when the DXY is trending in the bullish direction, that is almost always bearish for Bitcoin, at least in terms of the shorter term bearish trend. And vice versa, when the DXY is trending in the bearish direction, that is very often bullish for Bitcoin and crypto, at least in terms of the short-term trend and momentum. And so once again, as I've been saying over and over again here on the channel, the short-term trend for the price of Bitcoin is technically more bearish than bullish, at least for now. We have not actually confirmed any bullish trend reversal for the short-term trend. But also, as I've been saying over the last few days, of course, during this short-term bearish trend, we can see small bounces back to the upside here and there, and some sideways consolidations here and there during the bearish trend, just like how during this previous bullish trend in the short term, we did see some small pullbacks along the way. And so, like I've been saying over the last 3 days now, in my last 3 videos here on the channel since almost this low right here, I've been saying how it's very likely that just for the remainder of this week, we're most likely going to see a bit of a break or relief from the short-term bearish trend. So not necessarily confirming a bullish trend reversal, but just for the remainder of this week, once again, I do expect either some choppy sideways price action, basically a sideways consolidation, or potentially a slight bounce here in the short term, just for the next few days or so. And once again, I've been saying that as what I expect in the short term for the next few days. I've been saying that over the last 3 days now in my last 3 videos. And over the last 3 days, if we're taking a look at the Bitcoin price, that's literally exactly what we have seen as expected. And I continue to expect this price action for at least the rest of this week. But once again, even though just in the imminent short term, we are seeing a break or a relief from the bearish trend as expected, at least as of right now, we have not fully confirmed a bullish trend reversal. So for all we know, this could just be a bit of a break or relief before a continuation of the bearish trend later. As of right now, that is still a possibility. But if we do ultimately see the continuation of this bearish trend later on, I don't expect the continuation of the bearish trend until at least sometime next week, maybe the week after we play out a small relief or break from the bearish trend just in the short term here. And the reason why I've been saying that for the last 3 to 4 days now and has been playing out exactly as expected is due to the fact that we're running into major support right here in between 60,000 to 61,000. We also saw the daily Bitcoin RSI enter into oversold territories for the first time in months. And we also saw a relatively large red candle right here on that latest dump to the downside with a relatively large candle wick to the downside, which usually happens around local lows in the price of Bitcoin. And so oftentimes when we see a lot of those signals together, especially the oversold signal here in the daily Bitcoin RSI, that usually means that we're in for a bit of a sideways consolidation or a slight bullish relief over the coming days to help to reset the RSI back out of oversold territories and up towards more neutral levels. But while we're seeing this break from the bearish trend play out just in the shorter term, once again, this is helping to reset the RSI. But as the RSI resets back up towards higher levels, that technically gives us more room to the downside later on. And so once again, due to that, we cannot expect a massive bullish trend reversal or anything like that based on this signal by itself, because as the RSI resets and gives us more room to the downside, we could potentially see the continuation of that bearish trend later on at some point, potentially sometime next week as the most likely scenario. And as I've also mentioned time and time again here on the channel just recently, I would only start to flip much more bullish again on the price of Bitcoin in terms of the short-term trend and momentum if we start to see bullish reversal signals actually confirm. And what those signals are would be, for example, confirming a breakout above strong resistance or seeing a massive bearish trend reversal here in the DXY. But at least as of right now, we have not yet confirmed any of these bullish trend reversal signals for the price of Bitcoin, which is why I've been saying we have not confirmed the end of this short-term bearish trend, but just for the next few days, potentially for the rest of this week, we're most likely going to see a bit of a pause or break from that bearish trend. And the support and resistance areas to look out for here on the daily time frame. First of all, we still have that area of support which we've seen multiple bounces from over the last half a week or so, sitting in between around $60,000 to $61,000. But if we start seeing daily candle closes back below $60,000, potentially after this short-term break from the bearish trend finishes playing out, then in that case, the next significant area of support is sitting in between around 56,000 to 58,000, or 56,500 to 58,000 more specifically. And if we start breaking below around 56,000, below this significant low right here, then that would be bad news for the larger time frames for the price of Bitcoin. But at least for now, that has not yet happened, which is why the larger timeframes here have not really changed just recently. And as for resistance to watch out for here in the short term, in case we see a further bounce from this support, we still have this area of resistance in between around 63 to 64,000, and we have a massive level of resistance at around 67 to 68,000, and more resistance in between 72 to 74,000. And if we're zooming further into the short term right here, looking at the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, what we are seeing, at least as of recording this video, is a very small move to the downside just before the weekend, which if we're looking at the last few weeks, this is what we've seen repeat time and time again. And so first of all, if we're looking back to around 3 weeks ago, we saw a short-term dump in the price of Bitcoin just before the weekend actually started based on the UTC time zone. And then during the weekend, we saw very flat price action, so very low volatility over the weekend. And then as the new week began, we saw an increase in volatility on the weekdays. And then just 2 weeks ago, we saw pretty much the exact same thing, a small bearish movement just before the weekend, and then very flat price action, low volatility over the weekend, and then an increase in volatility in the new week. And then we saw pretty much the exact same thing happen around a week ago with a short-term move to the downside, followed by very flat price action over the weekend, very low volatility. And then basically as soon as the weekend ended, we saw a massive increase in volatility as we entered into the new week. And so the only thing that's different about this time compared to the last 2 times here is the fact that we do not have a bullish divergence between the RSI and the price of Bitcoin on the 4-hour time frame. But other than that, we're seeing very similar price action to what we've seen all of these previous weeks over the last 3 to 4 weeks or so. And so simply based on the most likely scenario, based on what we've seen over the last few weeks, we're most likely going to see this slight move to the downside here in the short term just before the weekend, followed by very flat price action or neutral price action, basically low volatility over the weekend as the most likely scenario. And then as we enter into the new week, we're most likely going to see another increase in volatility. And this also follows along with what I've been saying here on this daily time frame with choppy sideways price action, which is what we've been seeing, or a slight bullish bounce or bullish relief as the most likely scenario is basically a break from all of that bearish price action just for this week. And then potentially next week, it is possible that we could continue that short-term bearish trend later on. That is still a possibility. And if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of Bitcoin or any other crypto, personally, I trade those moves over on Bybit. So I'll make sure to leave a link to Bybit down below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link down below this video to make a Bybit account and deposit on that account, then you can get up to a $30,000 deposit bonus, but only if you use that link down below this video. And also, if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here, which is currently a massive lucky draw happening right now over on Bybit, which is only happening just for the next 2 days or so. And so simply just by trading crypto on Bybit, using the link down below this video, you get these chances for this lucky draw where you could win some free Bitcoin or free Ethereum or USDT or a trip to an F1 race or up to $100,000. And so if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check this out. Once again, first link down below this video. But for whatever reason, if you cannot access Bybit or if you cannot KYC on Bybit, there is also Bitflex, which is another crypto exchange similar to Bybit, but you don't need KYC for Bitflex. And so I'll also make sure to leave a link to Bitflex down below this video as an alternative crypto exchange. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, right now the price of Bitcoin is potentially about to take out a lot of liquidity at just above $60,000, more specifically around 60.3K to 60.4K. And so just in the imminent short term here, keep an eye on that level because there's a lot of long position liquidations that are sitting right around that level. And as for short position liquidations, we have a massive amount of liquidity at around 62,500. In fact, almost $1 billion of liquidity right around 62.5K. And we also have another area of liquidity in between around 63.7K to 63.9K and a lot of liquidity, hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars worth of liquidity at around 65,000. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, and right now the price of ETH is actually rejecting from this Fibonacci level, which was previous support right here, and that's sitting at around 3480 after we just saw pretty much a perfect bounce based on the candle closes from this 50% retracement level sitting at around 3350 acting as support. And we also have a significant area of support at this golden pocket right here, sitting in between around 3180 to 3220. And in terms of the short-term trend and momentum, just like Bitcoin, and as I've been saying recently over the last few weeks, the price is still technically trending in the bearish direction in terms of the short-term trend and momentum here for the price of ETH. But of course, a short-term bearish trend is not 100% only bearish price action in a straight line. We can see some short-term bounces and sideways consolidations here and there during a bearish trend. So just for the last few days and potentially over the next few days, this is what I'm expecting as the most likely scenario just in the short term during the bearish trend. And if we're taking a look at the 12-hour time frame, technically speaking, this bullish divergence is still actively playing out right now because we have not yet invalidated these lower lows in the price or in the RSI, well, the higher lows in the RSI. And technically speaking, a bullish divergence usually plays out in the form of either a slight bullish relief or some choppy sideways price action as the most likely scenarios just for the next few days here, once again, potentially for the remainder of this week. But a bullish divergence by itself is not necessarily enough to fully confirm the end of the short-term bearish trend and a new bullish reversal. It's not enough to confirm that. We need to see more signals, like, for example, confirmed breakouts above key resistance, which at least for now we have not yet seen. And once again, we have just seen a small rejection from this resistance at roughly around 3450 based on previous support and new resistance right here. And we also have a significant area of resistance on this 12-hour time frame at the golden pocket area of resistance in between 3.6K to 3650, which we have previously seen multiple rejections from. And we also have a lot of support right here at around 3.3K. So those are the short-term support and resistance levels to pay attention to. And if we're zooming further into the short term, looking at the 8-hour time frame, technically speaking, the price is still playing out a slight relief from that short-term bearish trend, as I've said over the last few days. Once again, the 8-hour Ethereum RSI just briefly entered into oversold territories. And if we're looking at the last few times this has happened, this pretty much always happens right around some sort of local low in the price of ETH, not necessarily the bottom of the short-term bearish trend, but just some sort of local low before we're due to see a bit of a bounce or sideways consolidation of some sort before potentially we could see the continuation of the bearish trend later on. And so not much has really changed over the last few days. We are still seeing the price pretty much perfectly play out the expectation that I've been saying here on the channel over the last few days. And so I'm basically repeating myself because the price is continuing to play out what I've already been expecting. But if we're taking a look at the ETH BTC chart on the weekly time frame, this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which if you're new to the channel, if this chart is going to the downside, it means Bitcoin is doing better than Ethereum, so Ethereum's doing worse. But if this chart is going to the upside, it means Ethereum is outperforming Bitcoin. And this is not financial advice, but technically speaking, what this would actually mean in practice is, for example, if you're bearish on this chart, it would be more worthwhile to hold Bitcoin over Ethereum. But if you're bullish on this chart, it would be more worthwhile to hold Ethereum over Bitcoin, considering in that case, Ethereum would be performing better against the US dollar compared to Bitcoin performing against the US dollar. And if we're looking at the last couple of years on this chart, we can clearly see that Bitcoin has been massively outperforming Ethereum over the last couple of years, even though we have seen some short-term bounces here and there. Once again, during a larger bearish trend, we can see short-term bounces here and there. And during those bounces, those are short-term time periods where we see Ethereum outperform Bitcoin. But overall, over the last couple of years, we have seen Bitcoin massively outperform Ethereum. But in order for that trend to change, we need to see a confirmed breakout above this massive descending line of resistance, which we have seen multiple rejections from time and time again over a couple of years now. And what we are seeing right now is a retest. We're actually testing this line of resistance as we speak, and this is sitting right at around 0.056 Bitcoin per Ethereum. And if we end up seeing a weekly candle close confirming the breakout above this line of resistance, so a weekly candle close above this resistance and ideally above a previous high to set a new higher high in place on the chart, which would be the initial confirmation signal to basically confirm the end of this bearish trend. If we see those breakout confirmation signals like candle closes above resistance once again, then that could change everything that we've seen for the last couple of years for Bitcoin and Ethereum. Because once again, for the last couple of years, it's been very normal for Bitcoin to simply just outperform Ethereum on most days over the last few years. But if we now confirm this breakout on this attempt after many failed attempts, that could change this direction of this chart, basically meaning that Ethereum could finally start significantly outperforming Bitcoin on the longer term trend if we break out right here. And technically speaking, we still have a massive bullish divergence on this weekly time frame, which is still active, and this could be helping the price, but ultimately we have to confirm a breakout above this resistance and ideally above a previous high to fully confirm some sort of trend reversal on this weekly time frame. And if we're taking a quick look at the price of Solana on the 12-hour time frame, what we have just seen over the last one day is that confirmed breakout above this area of resistance, which was previous support sitting in between around 140 to 144, because technically speaking, we've now seen a couple of 12-hour candle closes and actually a daily candle close above 144. But what we are clearly seeing right now, at least at the time of recording this video, is a retest of this area. And basically, if we fail to hold this area now as new support, so if we see candle closes on the 12-hour time frame or daily time frame back below 140, then that would invalidate this breakout. And so essentially, this would just be a fake out if we see candle closes back below 140. And so right now, it's actually very important for the bulls out there, for the Solana bulls to actually hold above 140 and flip that into new support. Because if that happens, if we can now hold this area and bounce from this area, that would be extremely bullish price structure. Anytime where we flip previous resistance into new support, usually that ends in a lot more bullish price action if we can now simply hold this area on the chart. And so this is really a make or break moment right now, at least in the shorter term for the price of Solana, because if over the next few days we can actually hold above 140 and flip that into new support and start bouncing from that area, honestly, in the coming week or so, we could likely see a move back up towards around 160 if we can simply hold this as new support. But on the other hand, if we fail to hold this as support right now and we actually see candle closes back below 140, then we could likely in the coming week or so see a move back down towards around 128 to 120 as the next significant area of support. And so, of course, right now, while we're in the middle of the retest, it's too early to tell. We're simply waiting for the confirmation signal of either confirmed bounce or confirmed break below 140. And so either way, I've given you the most likely scenario in either situation so we can set up and prepare a potential trade or trading strategy here in the short term using that information. But at least for now, it is too early to tell whether or not this retest will succeed or fail. So we're simply just waiting for that confirmation signal, which will likely confirm in the coming 1 to 2 days. And some beginners out there might think that that is just saying, well, the price could either go up or down. But for the traders out there, we can make money no matter what direction the price goes, no matter if it goes up or down. We can make money. And so, as always, this is not personal financial advice, but just an example. A real world example of this would be, for example, if we see a confirmed candle close back below 140, that could be a possible signal to enter a short position because we failed the breakout and we could return to some lower prices. And so we would be waiting for that signal, which might not confirm, but if it does confirm, then we could take advantage of that opportunity. Or if that signal does not end up confirming and we actually see a bounce from this area and hold from this area, then once the bullish signal confirms, if we see that confirm, then we can take that opportunity to trade the move towards the bullish price target. So we're just waiting for the signal to confirm in either direction, and we can make money in either direction. We don't need to know the direction right now. We just need to know the plan in place and wait for the signal to confirm. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out those links down below this video to claim those extra bonuses. And if you want to actually know how to trade crypto, no matter if the price is bullish, bearish, or chopping around sideways, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions. And the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.